In a world where legends rise and fall with every punch, where the roar of the crowd fades, but the stories live on. This is where those stories are told. This is Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. From the blood, the sweat, and the glory, to the controversies, comebacks, and knockouts, we go behind the ring, no fluff, no hype, and definitely no BS. Just the truth behind the fight game. And we've been doing it for over 2 decades. A podcast pioneer, now a Hall of Famer.
Great. What's that ego gonna be like?
And next, the comeback kid.
Wait, isn't he like 90 or something?
Shut up, he'll hear you. The reigning, defending, undisputed, heavyweight champion of boxing broadcasting. It's Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. And it's on now.
And we're coming to you live from the Billy C Studios in Lake George, New York. I'm Bill Calogero, and it's time for the Billy C Show. Good morning, good day, good evening, whenever you're watching, whenever you're listening. I hope you're doing okay today. Today's show, well, you guessed it. She's being brought to us in part by my book, Tom Molyneux, From Bondage to Baddest Man on the Planet, is available right now where all good books are sold, and you can get a copy of this book right now while you're watching the show. Just go to Amazon.com or where all good books are sold. Hey, this show is also being brought to us in part by the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame. That's right. It's that time of year again, and we're going to be doing a live show from the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame right here on Friday, the first night of the Hall of Fame. And if you're going to be in the St. Pete or Tampa area, make sure you stop by, get a ticket, and come on in. 3 days of it's great. It really is. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the 5th, the 6th, and the 7th. But we'll be doing a live show from the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame on Friday night starting at 7 p.m. Eastern right here on this channel. And I know there's going to be on some others too. But anyway, we got a busy show scheduled for you today. David Benavidez destroyed Gilberto Ramirez this past weekend. So who should he fight next? That makes the most sense, both financially and for the sport. I'll be giving you my thoughts on that coming up a little bit later. I'll be breaking down and predicting. But deep, you know what it is? I didn't have a scotch, so I'm having trouble talking. I'll be predicting the big world heavyweight title fight scheduled for this weekend between Fabio, Wardley, and Daniel Dubois. I'll be updating you guys on the latest boxing news and rumors. I got a listener email I'm going to share, and we got much more going on. If you're watching live, come on over into the chat room on the YouTube channel and join in on the show. Let your thoughts be seen and heard. This week's guest, well, it's former multi-division world champion, I should say, and future Hall of Famer, Chevelle Fist of Steel Hallback will be joining me. I can't wait to talk to her. But first, let's talk about the fight results. And I'm not going to talk about the Benavidez fight first. Usually I do that, but I'm not this time. I'm going to kick it off with the other big fight that took place this past weekend, and Naoya Inoue improved to 33-0 with 27 knockouts when he won a unanimous decision over formerly unbeaten and now 32-1 with 24 knockouts, Junto Nakatani. And it was an entertaining fight. 2 of the judges had it 116-112, and the third had it a little closer, 115-113. I think, in my opinion, I think Inoue showed a lot of respect for Nakatani, and I believe Nakatani showed too much respect for Inoue. It reports after the fight said that Nakatani had fractured an orbital bone in his face. But look, I just didn't think Nakatani looked as vicious as he had starting with his previous fight. I thought that Inoue should have went in for the kill. But it is what it is. I thought the first of 6-7 rounds were kind of anticlimactic. That's just my opinion. I was expecting a lot more fireworks. But then from the 8th round on, the fight turned into what I kind of thought it would have been from the start. I picked Inoue. He fought. I thought he fought a good fight. Some miscellaneous thoughts that I had after that fight. It was great to see Terrence Crawford there with Turkey Al-Rashid, who is no doubt trying to convince TC to come out of retirement, which I hope he does not. He's got nothing else to prove in the sport of boxing. And let me tell you something. This is a point I made to my main man, Augie, out of Riverhead. The thing is that a lot of these fighters, and we're seeing it right now with Floyd Mayweather, they start living this lifestyle after they're making all this money. It happened to Mike Tyson. It happens to Evander Holyfield. It happens to most. There's only been a handful of fighters that have kind of been smart. But, as the money's flowing, they're spending. They're living. You think all those hangers on, you think those entourages are all just doing it because they love the guy? Nah, they're getting paid, especially with Floyd. And we see what happens, right? When you look at Terrence Crawford is kind of following the road that Lennox Lewis did. You never see him get any credit, or even my paisan, Rocky Marciano. Rocky Marciano never reached in his pocket for anything. And the truth of the matter is Lennox Lewis was smart with his money. Larry Holmes was smart with his money. There's many other fighters too. But my point is Terrence Crawford came from nothing. He does not saying he came from nothing. He did come from nothing. I hear Floyd Mayweather talk, I came from the streets. Nah, he didn't. But Terrence Crawford did. And I think that his rise and all the money that he made, you never saw him do stupid things with it, like buying outrageously priced cars or homes. I mean, he did buy his mom a home, but, he didn't get crazy with the huge mansions. You don't see lots of bling on him. And I think that, rumor had it that he ended up with about $25 million after all expenses. I think Terrence Crawford is smart enough to ride off into the sunset. I mean, let's face it, boys and girls, $25 million. You'd never see Billy C again. I'll tell you what, you give me one and you won't, but anyway, that's the truth there. Rumor has it that Inoue is going to be taking on Bam Rodriguez, which is the fight everybody wants to see. It does not look like it's going to take place this year. At least that's the rumor, because Team Inoue is saying that, this fight with Nakatani took a lot out of him, and he's going to need some extra time to recover. So we'll keep an eye on that. One other thing I want to say, and I wasn't going to say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. I know I've made some comments, all right? And I'm sure if anybody watched this fight, and yeah, I watched it without the sound because it was a PBC, the garbage, worst promotional outfit in the sport of boxing. They had their commentator on there, and I can't stand when Mario Ronaldo yells and screams and talks like he's a circus announcer, or even worse, a WWE, which is what he is. And speaking of WWE, I'm sure you noticed the guy that tried to get in every single camera shot. He was shorter than everybody else. He was wearing some funky Elton John type outfits, and he's got sunglasses. I think he thinks he's really, really cool. And in case you don't know who it is, it's Rick Reno. And Rick Reno is in charge of, he's involved with the Ring magazine, and you see him with the Ring belt. So that's why he's there. I get people asking me all the time, hey, who's that guy? I'm like, okay, whatever. And by the way, little history, he used to be the guy behind the scenes from Boxing Scene. So small world, this world of boxing. Some other fights I wanted to talk about. What a fight. Hey, listen, if you were like me and you were watching, DAZN all day, I mean, if you saw the fight that came out of the UK where Conor Walker and Sam Eggington had a fight, what a back and forth. I mean, Tony Bellew called it the Gotti Ward of England fight. And let me tell you, it was. If you didn't watch it, go back and punch it up and watch it. It was the Conor Walker against Sam Eggington. I'll be if you didn't watch it, I'm going to tell you who won. Listen, the bottom line was Eggington was doing his best, but he got in some serious trouble, and the referee stopped it at 1 minute and 59 seconds of the 10th round. Walker improves to 18 wins, 3 losses, and a draw with 9 knockouts. Eggington falls to 36-10 with 20 knockouts. And this is exactly what I keep talking about, why I love the UK boxing scene so much and why these guys still sell out arenas, because they put on entertaining fights. And that's what boxing is all about. It's not all about the also on that card, and I hope you guys get to see this guy because I've actually just been turned on to him his last 3 fights. His name is Bialy Fawaz, and it's an interesting story. He was in there with a cat named Ryan Kelly, and the fight ended when Ryan Kelly's team wouldn't let him come out, so it's officially round 9, 3 minutes. And Fawaz really doesn't have that many pro fights. He improved to 12 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw with 4 knockouts. And his opponent, Ryan Kelly, he dropped to 20 wins, 7 losses, and a draw. And in case you don't know, Fawaz is the current British and Commonwealth junior middleweight champ. There's an interesting story I'll tell you real quick. This guy was basically as a kid, he was illegally transported to England, and as a child, what do they call it? Basically across countries or whatever. He doesn't have a passport. He's fought for the British Olympics. He's been fighting in Britain. He's got a Britain boxing license. They won't give him a passport, so he's kind of stuck in Mojo, and I would love to see him come here to the States. Well, another fight I want to talk about, and talk about an entertaining fight. I mean, this past weekend, boys and girls, what an entertaining boxing weekend when you think about it, because this fight, Jaime Munguia, what a fight that was when he beat Rez. They would say it a different way. I would say Resendez, the guy he fought. And Munguia looked fantastic. Resendez is, I think, how they were pronouncing it. And the judges scored at 120, 108, 119, 109, 117, 111, all for Munguia, who improves to 46-2 with 35 knockouts. And Resendez drops to 16-3 with 11 knockouts. He picked up the super middleweight title. I couldn't believe how many years. It was like 4 or 5, maybe even 6 years since he was a champion. Munguia started out really young. And another interesting thing about Munguia, if people forget, is that, and I'm looking forward to him. He looked fantastic. He looked nice and big. Perfect division for him in the super middleweight division. Interesting thing about him, and I talk about this all the time, Floyd Mayweather got the okay from the Nevada State Athletic Commission to fight a legitimate fight that went on his record against a guy that never fought a pro fight, the wrestler. And one time Munguia was put in to try to fight Triple G. And at the time, he was 24 or 25-0. I don't recall that. And they said no, that he didn't have enough experience, but yet they approved the Mayweather Conan fight. But anyway, hey, I'll give you an update before I get into it here. Before I get into it with the main topic, remember Mike the Problem McKinson? He was on this show. Love the guy. He's from the UK. He was out at a ring for a few years. Well, he made his comeback. They tried to screw him again, boys and girls. He had his opponent all set up. We were asking him how he was training and all this stuff. Well, less than 24 hours before the fight, the guy dropped out, and they brought in this other guy that didn't have as much experience, but he was bigger and he was a local guy. But it didn't matter because McKinson beat him, went the distance 79-73 and 80-72 twice. Congratulations to Michael McKinson. I'm a fan of his, and he's been on this show a couple of times. Okay, here we go. All right, David Benavidez. He took on Gilberto Ramirez. Remember, David Benavidez was and still is for now, the world light heavyweight champion, and he moved up into the cruiserweight division to challenge Gilberto Ramirez. And, I went back and forth when it was first announced. I thought Ramirez was too big for him. Then as I was doing some other research deeper into the previous fights and how, what the sizes were, I said to myself, you know what? He's not. You heard me pick David Benavidez last week. When the bell rung, I was saying to myself, man, Ramirez does look way bigger than Benavidez. And he did. But what a beating that David Benavidez put on Gilberto Ramirez. Basically, he did not answer. The fight was officially counted out at 2 minutes and 59 seconds of the sixth round. It was a career performance for David Benavidez. Make no mistake. I know that David Benavidez has tons and tons of fans, and I love him too. But let's be real, boys and girls. I mean, one of my knocks on David Benavidez was he never moved. He plodded forward and he went in and threw punches. This version of David Benavidez, and everybody was acting like that's the way he fights all the time. Unless I'm wrong, and this could very well be, the hand speed of him against Ramirez, just it was kicked up a notch or two. I mean, and he was just real accurate. He seemed very dominant in there mentally. And, I've seen him, like the fight against David Morrell. I mean, let's be real. He didn't dominate David Morrell, So anyway, hats off to David Benavidez. He's now a 3-division world champion, 32-0 with 26 knockouts. Ramirez only loses for the second time in his career. And remember, the first time was against Dimitri Bivol. He's now 48-2 with 30 knockouts, losing his belts as well. So the big question, and one of my main topics today, is, who does he fight next? Who does David Benavidez fight next, right? Benavidez, listen, let me just give you my opinion a little deeper on the performance. Did he look fantastic? Yes, he did. Did he display really ring generalship, hand speed? He avoided some punches. I mean, he was in shape. It was, to me, it was his career best performance. Okay. But let's take a look at Ramirez. And I am not knocking David Benavidez at all, but I'm trying to put it in perspective, because all of a sudden the word on the curb is like he's the best thing aside from Moses Atuma, and that's a joke because everybody acts like he's the greatest heavyweight ever. David Benavidez is now being considered the face of boxing and all this. Listen, here's what I think. I think that he had the perfect opponent in front of him. Gilberto Ramirez is not a fleet of foot guy. He just isn't. And, he maxed out his level that he's reached. He reached before this fight. I believe David Benavidez is continuing to improve. That's why I picked him against Ramirez. I did not think that Ramirez has been looking, consistently better, and he's not looking better after each fight. He's kind of been stuck, and no disrespect to him and the people he's beaten. But I think that David Benavidez was in there with the right guy. I mean, I mentioned, earlier with his fight against Morrell. Morrell is a boxer. Morrell moved. And he had footwork, and he kind of made Benavidez look stupid. Benavidez was not able to display any hand speed. He was not able to display his ability to cut off the ring and really control the fight. He did not against David Morrell. And I think that he would continue to have problems against fighters that have a high boxing, or they're boxers. They can move. When you look at what he can do next, I know that he made some comments right after the fight because, of course, J.R. Patea is the guy that is calling him out and, in my opinion, the guy that he should fight. Well, David Benavidez made a comment. He said, I think that would be a great fight to make in the future. I respect J.R. Patea a lot. He's a great fighter, and I think he's come back. I think if he comes back over here and makes these fights happen, because we can't make no fights in Zuffa. I think Dana White has showed that he doesn't want to do fights with PBC or DAZN. I don't want to sound like I'm disrespecting Dana White, but that's just what it looks like from the outside. If we could come to an agreement and make a big fight, let's do it. Many other people are saying the same thing, including a guy that I was kind of surprised that said it. But Timothy Bradley came out and said that he felt that Patea is not on Benavidez's level and that the Mexican Monster would handle him easily. And more people are saying that too. You know what I say? Bullshit. Bullshit. There's no way. Listen, I just told you that I think that J.R. Patea, that David Benavidez had problem with David Morrell because of the movement and the boxing ability. Well, has anybody watched J.R. Patea fight? J.R. Patea's biggest problem is that he tries to get in there and not utilize it. His biggest mistake would be to try to go toe-to-toe with David Benavidez. But if he's got half a brain, he wouldn't. And David Benavidez, it's not an easy fight for David Benavidez. But let's take a look. David Benavidez is saying, oh, well, no Zuffa, no Zuffa, no Zuffa. Well, listen, Zuffa works with other promoters, but he'll never make the money with the shit PBC that he could make with Zuffa Boxing or whoever promotes the fight against J.R. Patea. As far as DAZN, hey, listen, it's not like Dana White didn't want DAZN. He got big bucks with Paramount. He signed Sky Sports in the UK because the other promoters in the UK bailed on Sky and went with DAZN. So, I mean, come on, business is business. But if J.R. Patea is not the guy for David Benavidez, who is? Well, let's take a look because I'm not so sure anyone is. When you look at J.R. Patea, yes, he was stripped of the IBF belt, but he's still ranked in the IBF at number 4. He's ranked in the WBA at number 1, and he's ranked at the WBC at number 3. Yes, he's the cruiserweight world champion for Zuffa Boxing, but he's the guy. Anybody that watches boxing, especially in the cruiserweight division, knows that J.R. Patea was the top guy before the Ramirez-Benavidez fight. So come on, just because Benavidez beat a guy that was ducking J.R. Patea for 2 years, doesn't mean he's better than him. The other option's Ryan Rizicki, but Ryan Rizicki, he's scheduled to fight June 6th against Chris Billiam-Smith. And then another guy, the WBC champ, Noel McKillian. I mean, yeah, that would be a fight for a belt, another belt. But here's the thing. We got to talk money now. All right. I'm saying, okay, these fights are good. But the truth of the matter is let's talk money. Now, if David Benavidez is so close-minded and stupid not to listen to any kind of an offer from J.R. Patea, who, remember, is being promoted by Zuffa Boxing, and who backs Zuffa Boxing? Well, nobody needs to back Zuffa Boxing. He's a gazillionaire. But the other gazillionaire, Turki Al-Rashid, it would be involved with them. So, I mean, it's stupid for David Benavidez to say it. What's he going to do? Like Coach is saying in the chat room, the next fight you're going to hear is Ryan Rizicki against Benavidez or Benavidez against Noel McKillian. But there's not going to be enough money. I mean, let's be real. David Benavidez, J.R. Patea, under a Zuffa banner, could net these guys millions each, 10 million each at least, maybe more. They're not going to get that from PBC. They're just not. All right. And, DAZN's model right now, they're pushing for people like me who go the full blown subscription. So I just don't think it. If he drops back down to light heavyweight, he's got Dimitri Bivol, but Bivol's already signed. Remember, he got injured, so he was put on a shelf. He's already signed to fight 2 fights. So he would have to wait another at least year and a half before he gets in there. Same thing, Beater Biev. That's a good fight. Bivol and Beater Biev could be money fights. He could fight David Morrell. He could even go for a guy like Ben Whitaker. But, the truth of the matter is let's talk money, because money is the backbone. They don't, hey, boys and girls, they don't call it prize fighting for nothing. It's about the money. All right. It's about the money. And, everybody says, I'll fight anybody if I get paid enough. Well, if David Benavidez is closed-minded and he's listening to the idiots that he signed with, and he doesn't at least listen to a financial offer from Zuffa, he's crazy. He's crazy. My prediction, I do think he's going to go with the money, and we'll see what happens. Or the other thing that could take place is kind of a softening of all working together. We started to see it with the co-promotional deal that he signed with Ryan Rizicki. He is Ryan Rizicki. I'm talking about Dana White. Ryan Rizicki is signed to them, but he also has another promoter. So the argument that people are trying to make that Dana White and Zuffa Boxing don't work with other promoters is simply not true. If it makes moolah, and especially if it can boost Zuffa, if it's a co-promotion deal that's not hidden behind the scenes, it could be very lucrative for David Benavidez, and he would be a fool, in my opinion, anyway, if he didn't take it. And speaking of Zuffa, we could do our Zuffa boxing update. I have a couple of little updates for you. They named the co-main event for the first card that Zuffa's doing in the UK, which is June 7th. Saturday, June 6th. It's Zuffa 7. The main event in that is the Chris Billiam-Smith and Ryan Rizicki fight. We were just talking about both these guys. But now they were announced that the co-main event is Jack Massey against Siobhan Clark. That is a British cruiserweight title fight. And, the truth of the matter is this is why I like Zuffa so much. If you look, and we'll break it down when the time comes, but when you look at these two fighters, they're evenly matched. It's going to be an entertaining fight. I don't understand why people would rather see a one-sided fight, versus a competitive fight. I just don't get it. As of this morning, Zuffa has a stable of just about 100 fighters. We know some of the biggest names: Jay Apatea, Conor Benn, Eric Belanga, Callum Walsh, Richardson Hitchens. He's also got some other heavyweights signed: Jagba, Charles Martin, Andrew Tabiti, and Demazion Van Hooter. Middleweight Shane Mosley Jr., Sergey Boacek, which we're going to talk about and break down today, Michelle Rodriguez, and Vito Malicki. I didn't know Malicki was signed with him. That I found out today. Jose Rayo Venezuela as a junior welterweight / lightweight, because remember, they're only doing 8 weight classes, which I also love. Julian Rodriguez, Justin Valoria, Kane Sandoval, and to name a couple. And in the smaller weight, you got Omar Trinidad, Max Ornelius, Floyd Diaz, Pablo Rubio. I mean, like I said, they got about 100 fighters. So, again, in closing, I really think that they would be foolish, they meaning Team Benavidez, to rule out a fight with Jay Apatea, because the money will be in that fight. And I tell you, if David Benavidez is truly seeking greatness, which, I'm starting to buy into that he really is, because they're talking about him potentially fighting Alexander Usyk, which makes no sense. Hey, listen, David Benavidez has done great moving up in weight. He clearly looked like the smaller guy against Ramirez. But again, I'd like to see him in there with a cruiserweight that can move. Moving all the way up to fight a guy like Usyk, who's already beaten, the biggest heavyweights out there, would be a foolish, and he's one of the most, brilliant fighters active today, would be another stupid move. I mean, it's great to go for that. Just like, I mean, you get a lot of credit for going for it, but the credit really lies in the victory, like Terrence Crawford succeeded in. So, and if he does want to move up to heavyweight, maybe by the time he's physically ready, because I don't think he's physically ready right now, maybe the time, or if he beats a Jay Apate, he says, I cleaned up the cruiserweight division, then move up. But to be talking about that now and not entertaining a fight with arguably the top cruiserweight out there, to me is kind of crazy. It was announced. I don't know if you heard this, but Canelo. We all knew that he was going to fight. I was wrong. I made a prediction that he would be fighting for a Zuffa title. At least not yet. But it sounds like he's going to be taking on Christian Mabili, who's going to be. They're going to be fighting in September. So we'll see what happens. He's. I know it hasn't been officially announced, but it's a foregone conclusion that that's the guy. So, and he does have a belt. So we'll see what happens there. Do I like the fight? Yeah, I like the fight. I mean, they were really crying for a Canelo Crawford rematch. Almost like they're acting like Canelo would win. I mean, you're not going to see a different fight. You're just not. Crawford is older, but Canelo's got some miles on him. I mean, listen, whether you like Canelo or not, he's fought. Some tough fighters. Some tough fighters. My man, coach, is saying Richard Popeye Ramirez against Ben Whitaker. Hey, listen. He's saying spinach is my favorite vegetable. Listen, I love that fight. When I talked about it last week, I forgot that Richard Ramirez was Popeye. And he's going to make an interesting fight, and he's going to test Whitaker. But Whitaker is one of those special fighters. You'll see Whitaker come out on top. Jesus is saying Moses Ituma against David Benavidez. I want to see Moses Ituma fight a real heavyweight first before we start putting him in the Hall of Fame. All right. I mean, I just don't understand it. And in all due respect, David Benavidez, I don't think that would be fair. I don't listen. Contrary to him saying that he would consider fighting Usyk, let him fight another cruiserweight fight. Jay Apataya is the guy, in my opinion. But anyway, hey, listen, I was mentioning about our guest today, and our guest today is, well, she's real special to me, but accolades deserve accolades. And she is a multi-division world champion. And aside from all of her accomplishments in the ring, she's probably one of the best human beings I've ever met. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome Chevelle Fist of Steel's Hallback. What's up, Chevy?
What's going on, man? You too kind. Too kind.
Oh, stop. Oh, stop.
Too kind. Too kind.
What's going on, man?
Nah, nothing much, man. Nothing much. Let's see. I just got my AA in communications, graduated from Hillsborough.
Congratulations. I saw something about you making some it was an I glanced through it because when I get on social media, sometimes I don't pay attention, but I saw it was like some kind of an inspirational thing about, because you accomplished that and encouraging other people to go for things.
Yeah, most definitely. And I had a speaking engagement. I do motivational speaking, keynote speaking as well. So I had that done this past weekend. And let's see, on Mondays, I do boxing fitness classes for the senior citizens. And also, I work with, I'm trying to, I haven't started yet, but I'm trying to work with Parkinson, patients that have Parkinson. I think boxing is great for that. And yeah, and still training. I'm not done yet. Still
I
pray.
wasn't even going to get it. Hey, but just before I jump, I wanna tell you it is good for Parkinson's. I know a guy who has a gym in Florida. He's a doctor. He's a neurologist, Dr. Schaefer, and as a matter of fact, I'm going to be seeing him within the next month or so. And
Okay.
he set up a gym for his patients that have Parkinson's.
Okay.
So I'm shocked that you said that. Anyway, listen, get back to boxing for a minute. Your boxing. You had some big wins in your career: Melissa DeValley, Terry Blair, Janine Garside, Victoria Cisneros a couple of times.
Yeah.
You had the draw with Melissa Hernandez. You fought really the best fighters out there. Former multi-division world champ, all that stuff. What's your thoughts about the state of women's boxing today, considering, let's face it, you paved the way for a lot of these women that are fighting now?
Yeah, man, listen. Female boxing has come a long ways. And I'm sorry. I know a lot of people don't feel too good about the guy Jake Paul, but I'm sorry. Jake Paul has really stepped into the paint and really is making it happen for female boxing as far as
Chevy, let me interrupt you. I think that people don't. I agree. I don't know anybody that doesn't think that he's being so positive for women's boxing. I think the people that hate on him don't want him to fight, but
right.
as the promoter. But anyway, I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
Right.
But go ahead.
Got you.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? Like he has really stepped up the game for helped step up the game for female boxing as far as the pay is concerned, as far as getting us noticed, getting us the publicity. He has really changed the game and I really appreciate him for that. I mean, like I said, coming from where I started, female boxing has come a very, very long way, a very, very long way. And it's only growing. It's only growing from there. Um, the skill, the pool of skilled fighters is really, really there now. Do I still feel that there are probably some female fighters out there that's not really getting the recognition that they deserve or they should get? Because when you know people, that does help a lot. And because they don't have those connections or whatnot, they may not be able to get seen like some of the fighters are. And I'm talking about when it comes to skills. You do have a lot of females out there, I think, that has a lot of skills that's not being shown. And there are females that are being shown, but still, I don't think at that skill level quite yet to get the worldwide recognition that they are given. But at the same time, kudos to them still. Kudos to Jake Paul still. He's really, really helping out a lot. A
Uh,
lot.
I don't think anybody can deny that. All right, so listen, I got these questions, but I got all these people in the chat room, and specifically, they're asking some questions. So I'm going
Okay.
to throw them up on the screen. First and foremost, I'm going to throw my man John, because we're going to be doing the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame June 5th. So if you're in
I'll
the
be
area,
there.
you stop by.
I'll be
So
there.
John wanted to mention that. All right, okay. Let me just tell you. Coach is in here, and he's always he's trying to take my job, because he's always coming up with these questions that hits home with my guests. Okay, so
Okay.
here's his question. It's up on the screen for you. It says, well, you can read it, right?
Okay. Let's
So
see. Is
I'll
it?
read it as you're reading it. As Chevelle, as a UPS worker, funding your risky career with few opponents, did money woes or the day job ever push you to retire early? And how's that grind stack up to pampered stars of today?
Okay. So is he asking me me retiring from boxing? Is that what he is that?
Well. He's assuming. Yes, he's assuming that, Chevy. Okay, I mean,
Got you. Got you.
okay,
Got you.
so,
Got you.
but
Got you. Got
you,
you.
I'm going to give you a window for that in a minute.
Okay.
So,
Well, to try to answer his question without really getting to what you're talking about, um, I I don't work for the post office anymore. I do my own thing, entrepreneur. But fortunately, I was making enough money where I took boxing serious, very passionate about boxing. Um, but money was not such a concern for me when it came to my everyday living. It wasn't really a concern. Boxing did not pay me enough money to pay my bills or to stay afloat or to be able to do it full time. I did never had that problem because I always did have a job. It would have been nice. Now I have to take that back. There was a time, I think like in 2002, 2003, where I only did was box. And I had the privilege of having a promoter, Mike Gerald, which he's passed away now, Mike Gerald, when I was in Savannah, Georgia. And he took care of everything. I mean, I got paid to eat, sleep, fight, and it was great. It was great. But outside of that, I always had a job. And that job always gave me the security and the financial stability that I needed to do whatever I needed to do. So did it make me retire because the money wasn't there? I actually was in boxing because of the passion, because of the love of it. Of course, the little money that I did get when I did receive it, of course, that was great. But that wasn't my main reason for being in boxing. As far as the early retirement, not done yet.
Yeah. Hey, I don't know if you've seen Amelia Moore fight, female fighter up and coming. I'm going to introduce you guys because her philosophies are very similar to yours, and it's a breath of fresh air to hear from this next generation coming up. Because we all know that there's some negativity in female boxing, but in your career, which we talked about earlier, which pretty much you did that, done that, all of it.
Mm-hmm.
In your opinion, what was your biggest accomplishment?
Oh, let me see. My biggest accomplishment. Oh man, with you. Oh, of course. Oh my goodness. Oh my
Come on,
goodness. It
really?
was with you. I mean, you made it possible for me to be the main event in Tampa, Florida on one of the biggest stage. And it was the first time a female had ever been the main event on an all guy card. And you made that happen. Like that was awesome. That was awesome. Outside of winning my very, very first world title, that right there in itself was like the biggest accomplishment, man. And we didn't do it one time. We did it twice. Now, the first time, yeah, we shared the main event, but the second time, it was just me as the only female on the card, main event, and the other card was guys. That was great. That was awesome, man. That was awesome. Yes. And you made that happen.
That was a great night. That was a great night.
Yes.
One other question before we talk about your boxing. One thing that I always thought, because I saw you've worked with fighters.
Mm-hmm.
Why haven't you gotten into training? Why haven't you grabbed a fighter and shared your knowledge and try and build that fighter up? Learn from what you went through. Nobody said you had it easy. I think
Right.
you missed the point coach was trying to make was like, here you are working to help fund your stuff and doing the boxing. Whereas some fighters today, if they sign with the right guy, all they're doing is training for boxing.
Right. Well, I have helped out quite a few fighters. Jasmine Ortega, she's up and coming, a really good fighter, and she signed with Jake Paul. Let's see who else. I helped train a couple of young men fighters. I don't know, I don't know. To be honest with you, I really, really do not know. I really like the fitness aspect of it. I know that might sound crazy, helping out the seniors, because there's really nothing there for the seniors as far as health and exercise. I'm talking 60 plus. And
you mean like me? I'm a senior. I'm well into the senior now.
especially the females. I really, really enjoy that type of thing. So I don't, I'm not sure. I really, really enjoy that type of thing. Yeah.
No, that's
I don't know, maybe down the line I might grab a couple and put them up under my wing, but I'm never out of the reach when somebody comes to me, ask me for advice and ask me, to show them how to do this or show them how to do that. I'm always there to give whatever knowledge that I can give.
That's critical, really. I mean, boxing. There, one of the other hidden reasons is I always say that is today. The rules. I could go in as I've done a lot in boxing. I've never been a trainer, but yet if I paid the $25 or $50 fee, I'd be the head trainer for the fight. And
Right.
I've never trained. So I think we have too many rah-rah men and
Yes.
not enough true teachers. And when you
Yes.
meet and know a fighter that's a true that can teach, every fighter learns how to fight, but not all fighters can teach. So when you
Right.
get a former fighter that can teach, train, that's so beneficial, way beyond the single fighter. It's good for the sport. But
Right. I
all
agree.
right, what's going on with your boxing career? I try to walk around that, but I can't argue with you. You're in phenomenal shape.
Thank you.
Tell us where you're at with that.
I won my 7th world title 2 years ago. And man, I know it might sound crazy. People say, well, I'll be 55 in September. Not ashamed to say it. I love to say that. Love to tell my age because like you said, I don't think I don't know what 50 something supposed to look like, but I don't think I look that age.
They look older than you.
I don't know what it's supposed to feel like. I'm still capable of doing the things that I was able to do in my 20s and 30s. I'm capable of still doing those things now. And I was like, man, what is too old? And I started looking at some of the fighters that's probably still fighting, like Oliver McCall. I see that he's 60 years old and he just had a fight in 2025. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to do it that long, but I don't know. But my goal is, people say, why? Why are you still? What is it? What is it? And I do want to reap some of the benefits that some of these girls are taking advantage of now. I'm like, wow, I'm still capable. Why can't I help pave the way? Why can't I reap some of that benefit? Number one. Well, that's number two. Number one, honestly, hands down, while I'm still in the game, I really want to fight Clarissa Shields with everything in me, period. And I know me and her went back and forth a couple of times, and she was like, first she said, oh, I would never give you the opportunity. The only way I would give you the opportunity is to spar me. Like, really? Okay, so you talk all this against other fighters, but me, you say you only give me the opportunity to spar you. Okay. Then she said, oh, you have to come up to 170, 75 pounds to fight me if you want to fight me. Well, of course, she knew. I know, she knows, everybody knows that is way too much weight for me. And she know I wasn't coming up there. You might as well just say, I just don't want to fight you, right? So now that she's coming back down in weight, and like I said, I still have the capability of doing whatever. I want to fight her. I don't know what it would take to make that happen. To be honest with you, I don't know what I would have to do to even get that lined up. But I can tell you this, at 147, I'm ranked number 8 in the world with the WBC. So,
I think if you had another fight, she couldn't argue. But here's the thing: you guys, you and Clarissa Shields, the name shouldn't be mentioned in the same sentence unless you were going to fight, because. And here's the truth. I mean, I just said when I introed you, you're one of the best human beings I've ever met, and I've told anybody that I ever talk about you to, I say that first. I met Clarissa Shields when she first won the gold medal. We did an event in Florida.
I was there.
Yeah, and right. And I was just gonna say, remember how sweet she was? She really.
Yes.
She was. We're all like, she's showing her medal and all you guys.
Yes.
Boys and girls, it was a women's Hall of Fame event. That's
right.
So all these top female fighters were there, and it was so. It really was. It was cool. It was warm.
Right.
And my attitude was, here we go. This is going to be a good face for boxing.
Facts.
Then she goes and wins the second gold medal, and then she turned pro, and then she's what she is today, which is the only black eye on the sport of women. If you want to separate women's boxing, I don't even want to separate it. I think all of boxing. She's
Right.
negative.
She's
You
very
know?
negative. And just to give a little history,
And who? And wait, I don't mean to
Mhm.
cut you off.
No, go ahead.
But who? You don't give yourself the title of greatest woman of all time. You just don't. I mean, the only guy that got away with that, the only fighter, I should say, that got away with that was Muhammad Ali. I can't stand all these other fighters that become self-proclaimed the best, the greatest of all time. The fans will tell you who the best is.
Right.
You know?
Right. And the history behind that is that, like I said, you said, I was there. Talked to her, met her and everything, and we would talk every now and then back and forth on social media. Well, she would, message me or whatnot. And so this happened in 2016, I think it was. I was on Twitter and I said, wow, there's a lot of female fighters. And every time I turn around, they're saying they're the best, they this and they that. And I wasn't talking about any one particular person. I was talking in general. And I said, when I started boxing, the girls was getting a little bit more knockouts than the girls are now. And friend Cruz, whatever her name is, Cruz, she saw what I said. And I think she had just fought Clarissa. And they became friends or whatnot. And she went back and told Clarissa. She even said, oh, you're trying to say something sideways about Clarissa Shields. And I said, no. I said, I wasn't talking about anyone in Pacific. I was talking in general. But, I'm very humble. I am. But at the same time, I'm not going to allow you to punk me either. And so I said, no, I was not. I was talking in general. But if the shoe fits, wear it. That's what I said. So she went back and she told Clarissa what I said. Clarissa came back and we was going back and forth. Now I'm going to keep it professional at all times, and I don't have to name call you, put you down, or any of those type of things to get my point across. But the conversation ended with her saying to me, you can't beat me. And I laughed and I said, a fight between me and you is like a fight between Canelo and Mayweather. And I'm not Canelo. And when I told her that, she blocked me from everything. And since 2016, I mean, going at her. I want to fight you. I want to fight you. And at that time, I think she was at 154 pounds. I think I was like a 140. I want to fight you. And I would never really get any feedback from that. She kept going up in weight. She was naming all these other girls, calling all these other girls, even girls that didn't even fight, inviting people to her gym to spar against them, and they weren't even fighters. But she would never mention my name. So I've been trying.
Yeah, well, and that's the only person that you would fight?
No, of course, if I have to fight someone, as
long as you had a 2-fight deal, as long as it was in writing that you would get Clarissa.
Oh, most definitely.
Right.
Most definitely.
See how I slip? See how I slip in that clause in the
yeah.
Hey, listen. So you made a comparison, Canelo against Mayweather, but I have a better one. I know you and I have differed on Mayweather. I think you would be more Terrence Crawford against Canelo, because Terrence Crawford did what you're attempting to do, moved up to fight, the so-called face, the best, when he fought Canelo.
Right.
And Floyd never did that. He always had, so I think that.
And the reason, let me say, and the reason why I did those comparisons, because how old Floyd was compared to Canelo.
Well, when Canelo, you mean when they fought themselves, when they fought?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Right,
Yeah,
that's what I said. I said a fight between me and you would be like a fight between Mayweather and Canelo.
I got you.
You see what I'm saying?
Their fight was right.
Right. You know, and I said it, and I'm not Canelo, meaning that I'm Mayweather type age, you're Canelo type age, and Mayweather beat Canelo like he was his daddy. I'll beat you like I'm your mother.
Only because he knew, Canelo was too young, just like you're saying. She doesn't, but she thinks she knows
Right.
but that's a whole nother story.
Right.
But how's my man BB?
He's doing great. Oh my goodness. You have to, next time you come, you have to come see him.
I'm
He's a
coming in
manager.
June. I'm gonna be there in June.
Yes,
That's only 3 weeks away.
Yes, you have to come see him. Please come see him.
No, hey, is there a way for him to go? Well, we'll talk afterwards. But hey, do you have any thoughts before I let you go, man? Do you have any thoughts on the fight? Well, first, what was your thoughts? Did you watch the Benavidez Ramirez fight?
Oh my God, that man is a beast.
Yeah, he is.
I don't see anybody beating that man. Like, I do not. I don't know. I'm just assuming. I think Canelo is afraid of that man.
I think that's what it's looking like now. But for sure, there's a heavyweight fight this weekend. Fabio Wardley, who's kind of, in my opinion, busted out onto the scene against Dubois. Do you have any thoughts on that? Have you had a chance to look at that one?
No, I haven't. I don't have any thoughts on that one.
All right, fair enough. But hey, listen,
I could sit up here and make up something. Oh
yeah. Oh yeah, I think who was the first guy? Yeah, he's gonna win.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep it 100 at all times.
Yep. Hey, listen, that's the way it's supposed to be. Chevy, I love you. I appreciate you coming on, man. Taking some time, and keep me posted. The minute you hear something about that, you gotta let me know.
Anybody out there in boxing world land. Hey, I don't have a manager. I don't have a promoter. I don't have any of those things. Anybody that, can direct me in the right direction and the goal that I'm trying to reach. Someone that say, hey, I believe in her. I'll give her that chance. Because age is just a number, and it definitely doesn't define me. So
no, it certainly doesn't. It defines some people, but not you.
Definitely.
Hey, so I'll be seeing you June, right? June 6th.
Most definitely.
We're doing our thing, right?
Yes.
I'm sorry, June 5th. It's Friday. But it's that whole weekend. But we're doing a show. We're doing this show from there.
Okay.
So, you can get on again and we'll see.
Let's do it.
Hey, I'll work out a manager. I know a guy. I know
a guy too.
So, yeah. Girl, I'll be seeing you in a couple of weeks.
All right then.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me.
No
Bye,
problem.
everybody. Oh, listen, you guys can catch me on Facebook, Chevelle Hallback. If you catch me on Instagram, put _Chevelle Hallback. Somebody took my other Chevelle Hallback account, so it's _Chevelle Hallback.
Why aren't you using Fist of Steel anymore?
Well, I'm still Fist of Steel, but like Facebook, if you put in Fist of Steel, that's me. But just put my name, Chevelle Hallback. Easy.
Sounds good. You guys find her. Chevy, I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you.
Take care.
All right.
That's Chevelle, Fist of Steel, Hallback. And like I said, multi-division world champion. She's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer when she decides to hang up the gloves. But check her out on the socials. She means a lot to me personally, but it is what it is, right? Price Taylor, he's a heavyweight prospect. He's fighting this weekend in Atlanta. He's 11-0. He's fighting his first 10-rounder. Why am I mentioning it? I don't know, because I'm critical of a lot of these young fighters that don't step up their level of opposition. And here's a guy that's fought 11 times. There is a lot of fanfare about him. 11-0, 7 KOs, like I said. He's fighting a 10-round fight, and he's taking on Calvin Barnett, who's not known as a power puncher, and he's known as a guy that can fight a little bit at 7-4. Same level of opposition that he's fought for the first 11 fights. It does not help a fighter when you don't increase their level of opposition at least a teeny bit from every fight. Otherwise, they get stuck fighting the same level. That's why you see fighters today. Okay, you hear fighters make the comment, it's easy to win a title. It is, because there's lots of titles. It's hard to keep one, because a lot of times you win that title, maybe not in such a tough fight, but the next guy that's going to get a shot is. Some notes real quick. This is a fight. Look, Tim Tszyu and Errol Spence Jr., they set a fight. They're fighting July 25th. We heard rumor about it for a while. It's official. It's a pay-per-view. Why is it a pay-per-view on Prime? Because it's a PBC show. Listen, my point on this fight, how many buys you think people are going to give PBC for the Spence Tim Tszyu fight? How many buys? Because damn well that you can watch it on a stream by itself or the next day. I don't think they're going to get many buys at all. I really don't. Spence is shot. Tim Tszyu hasn't looked too well. We'll see. It could be an entertaining fight, but what does this mean? This is my problem with the PBC. They give us, they were part of. You got to give Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy credit for supplying Ramirez for the Benavidez Ramirez fight. Yuriorkis Gamboa and Guillermo Rigondeaux were scheduled to fight this past weekend, or this coming weekend, I'm sorry, and it was rescheduled to May 30th in Fort Lauderdale. My question is why? Gamboa is 44 years old already, 30 wins, 5 losses. I loved Yuriorkis Gamboa. I loved him, but it's over, right? Same thing. He's taking on Alex Espinoza, and Guillermo Rigondeaux is taking on Jose Velasquez. Rigondeaux is 45. Velasquez is 35. So I'll tell you why they rescheduled it, boys and girls. Nobody's buying tickets. That's why. I got an interesting email. This is from Alex T., the other Alex, as he's been known on this show for quite a while. He says, "Hey, Billy C., what a great interview with Jack Hirsch. I love when you have old school boxing historians on, and Jack is one of those guys. That was great stuff. I hope he comes back on." I am going to have him back on. What I'm going to be doing is I'm setting up a round table, and I'm going to have a couple of guys like that on. And I've already asked if Jack would come on, and he said yes. I had already asked Mike Silver in the past, and he said yes. I'm going to confirm with those two. I have another couple of guys up my sleeve, and I will give you plenty of time to make sure you catch that one. And that'll be coming up over the summer. And he says, now on to Mayweather. You've mentioned a couple of times about Pacquiao going into their fight with a shoulder injury. I wanted to expand on that a bit because I think information comes out so fast these days. A lot of it gets forgotten. Great point. It's true. Stuff comes out so quick. It's old news by the morning. Some news right now I could hear, and then it's old news by the morning. He says Pacquiao had asked the Nevada State Athletic Commission for permission to receive a Toradol shot in the shoulder before the fight due to the injury. It's a painkiller. He was denied. I believe their reasoning was that Pacquiao should have disclosed the injury sooner. Mayweather, on the other hand, was caught the day before receiving an illegal IV drop at his home. Of course, this wasn't made public until weeks after the fight, and nothing happened to Floyd. That's something Coach has mentioned in this chat room many times, that whole incident. He loves Mayweather almost as much as I do. And he says, I also read this morning that the IRS has frozen Floyd's passport. This guy is in some serious trouble. Thanks for the email. Yeah, he is. He is in some serious trouble. And, that's why he's going to have to fight Manny Pacquiao. And that's why they were saying that, the other two fights were canceled because he's upping the fight. It was supposed to be in September. Now there's some rumor that it's going to be sooner. They just officially announced that they changed the venue, probably to get a couple of more bucks out of it. They moved from the Sphere, and now it looks like the MGM is the going to play. MGM Grand Garden is going to be the place. But then there was some rumor that he was being sued by all these people, including Mike Tyson. And Mike Tyson just said the other day, if not this morning, that he has hopes that the fight will still go on, that he's in great shape and he's ready for it. So, that sounds like he's pushing for the payday. But we'll see what happens. I'm telling you right now that if he fights, and look, we know Floyd, he loves that on his record, so he's going to train as hard as he can. But I think that the age with Floyd is going to fail him in a rematch with Pacquiao. You know what? I don't even want to see it, though. I really don't. All right, I got some fights I want to talk about and break down for this weekend. Three in particular. We got a cruiserweight fight. I'm sorry, a light heavyweight fight between David Morrell and Zach Chilai. And we have a middleweight fight with Shane Mosley and Sergey Boachuk. And we have the main event, which is Daniel Dubois going up against Fabio Wardley. So let's start off with the Shane Mosley against Sergey Boachuk fight. Shane Mosley Jr. is, of course, the son of Sugar Shane Mosley, who I thought was one of the best fighters ever in the lightweight division when he was a lightweight. Was fantastic fighter. But anyway, this is his son, who is nothing like his father. Okay, let's be honest. He's nothing like his father. He's a middleweight. His record, 22 wins, with 12 wins coming by knockout. He's got 5 losses. Like his opponent that he's going to be facing in Sergey Boachuk, one of his losses was at the hands of Brandon Adams, and that took place in 2018. It was a 10-round decision. He's 35 years old, 4 years older than his opponent. He's 6'1", and he's got a 77-inch reach. He's got a 2-inch height and a 4-inch reach advantage going into this fight. He's ranked number 27 in the world by the computer. The WBA has him ranked at number 7, and nobody else has him ranked anywhere, including the Ring or ESPN. The IBO Top 100 computer has him at number 3. His best wins, 10-round decision over Mario Lorenzo. That took place in February of 23. He stopped Demetrius Ballard in 7 rounds in June of 2023. He won a 10-round unanimous decision over former world champion Daniel Jacobs back in July of 24. And he's actually coming off a loss. He lost a 12-round unanimous decision against Jesus Ramos in his last fight. That was December of 2025. Now he steps in the ring with Sergey Boachuk, who's a former world champion. You got to count interim champion, I guess, today. He's got a record of 27 wins, 3 losses, one in which he was stopped. 2 of his losses came at the hands of Brandon Adams, my man Brandon Adams. In 2001, he was stopped in the 8th round, which is his only stoppage of his 3 losses. And he lost a 10-round decision to Brandon Adams in September of 2025. He also lost a very close majority decision to Virgil Ortiz in August of 2024. He's got some good wins. He's got a first-round annihilation of Patrick Alate in July of 2023. He won a 12-round decision over Brian Mendoza in March of 2024, in which he won his junior middleweight title. He stopped Ishmael Davis in 2024, and he won a 10-round decision over Mikhail Fox in May of 2025. The computer ranks him at number 6. The WBC ranks him at number 6. The WBO ranks him at number 5. He's not rated in the IBF, the WBA, or ESPN. IBO's top 100, number 6. How do I think this fight's going to go? Well, Boachuk has been in there with some tough fighters. Shane Mosley. Oh, and by the way, Boachuk, who seemingly has been around forever, is actually 4 years younger than Shane Mosley. How How do I think this fight's going to go? I think Boacek will be, unless Boacek age, overnight, and he's coming off a win, unless he's just is not the same guy he was in February of this year. I don't see him having much problem against Shane Mosley Jr. I'm picking Sergey Boacek in that one. In the light heavyweight division, a name that we talked about earlier in this show pertaining to David Benavidez is David Morrell. And David Morrell is taking on Zach Chilai in a fight this weekend as well. David Morrell, 12 wins, 1 loss, 9 of his wins coming by knockout. His only loss was close in my opinion, not by the scorecards, but it was close in my opinion to David Benavidez. He's 28 years old, which will be the same as his opponent. He's a Cuban fighter, which is important, and I'll get to in a minute. He's a southpaw. The height and reach is about the same. The computer ranks him at number 2. The WBO has him at number 1. He's not rated, surprisingly enough. This is why the ratings are garbage, but he's not rated by the WBC, the IBF, or the WBA. The Ring has him at number 5, and ESPN has him at number 2. What does the IBO's computer say, which I think is the most realistic computer system for fighters, ranking fighters? They got him at number 2. Now he steps in the ring. Forgot his best wins. He had a third-round stoppage over Mike Ravansky in 2020. In 2021, a fourth-round stoppage over Antez Fox. And in December of 23, a second-round stoppage over Sina Agbeko. And, he wasn't known as a knockout puncher, and his best wins were 3 knockouts, right? 9 knockouts, 75% KO ratio. Now he steps in the ring with Zach Chilai, and Chilai's got a record of 16-0, 3 losses and a draw. 8 of his wins coming by knockout, and his 3 losses, he's never stopped. He is an orthodox fighter, and as you know, David, or maybe you don't know, David Morrell is a southpaw fighter. I honestly never saw Zach Chilai fight. Don't know how many southpaws he fought. They're about the same height. The computer ranks him at number 64. IBO top 100, number 63. Not rated anywhere else, any sanctioning bodies or anything. His best wins in June of 22, he had a 10-round decision over Jermaine Brown. In February of 2023, he had a 10-round decision over Anthony Sims. And in January 2024, he had a 12-round decision over Jack Cullen. Anthony Sims and Jack Cullen are 2 known guys. I must have seen him fight. I just don't recall the name. But how do I think this fight's going to go? David Morrell all the way. David Morrell is a talented fighter. I know he seemingly struggled in his last fight. He won by a split decision. But I think we're going to see an improved David Morrell, more of a version of let me tell you this. If we don't, David Morrell's career is going to go in the toilet. So I'm picking Morrell in this one. All right, in a big fight, and it's especially big for me because I love this fight. There's nothing about it that I don't like. And I was psyched about it since they announced it. And that, of course, is the Fabio Wardley going up against Daniel Dubois fight. And, look, Fabio Wardley is being regarded right now as a granite-chinned power puncher, a top guy. I mean, the only other guy that they talk about more than him is Moses Ituma. I got and this is a comment that I'm going to agree with. Sanchez Benavidez, he says Benavidez is not the face of boxing. Inoue outsold him anyway in any way possible. I don't know if we can really say that Inoue is more of a face of boxing than Benavidez. I don't agree. I mean, I do agree that he's not the face of boxing, but Inoue unfortunately fights so much in Japan. I think that's the Inoue fight against Bam Rodriguez. the winner will be the face of boxing, and in my opinion. But anyway, back. Stop distracting me. Back to the fight. Fabio Wardley is the WBO champion. He was the interim champion until Alexander Usyk gave up the belt, and he became the regular old WBO world champion. He said publicly that he doesn't feel like he won the title in the ring, and that's why he's going to fight so well against Daniel Dubois this Saturday. Wardley, he's got 20 wins, no losses, and 1 draw, and 19 of his wins coming by knockout. So it's a 95% knockout ratio. The height and reach is about the same. He's actually older. He's 31 years old. It's pretty amazing to think of him being 3 years older, considering how long it seems Daniel Dubois has been around. The computer ranks him at number 3. ESPN has him at number 1, and I'm sorry, Ring has him at number 1, and ESPN has him at number 3, like the computer, of course, because he's the WBO champion. He's not rated anywhere else. His best wins, okay? This is the facts on him. And don't get me wrong, I love Fabio Wardley, and I hope that he could be the face of boxing. He's a really good representative of the sport, in my opinion. But in his last in June of 2025, he had a come from behind knockout win against Justin Hunai in June of 25. If you watch that fight, he was losing all the way up until he came and knocked out Hunai, which had a conditioning issue in that fight that he seemingly overcame in his last fight. So that was one of his big wins. And then after fighting to a draw, a slugfest with Frazier Clark, they had an immediate rematch, and he blew him away in the first round. That fight put him on the map, in my opinion. And really, I mean, he fought Hunai after that. And then his big fight that he got and, has catapulted him into world championship was his 11th round knockout over Joseph Parker. Now he steps in the ring with Daniel Dubois, and Daniel Dubois, it's the tale of Daniel Dubois. Daniel Dubois has some big wins. First and foremost, his record is 22 wins, 21 coming by knockout, with a approximately same KO ratio as Wardley. He's got 3 losses, all 3 by knockout. He lost 2 times to Alexander Usyk, and once, in my opinion, a freak fight. He got knocked out by Joe Joyce. At 28 years old, he's 3 years younger. He's got a couple more fights, 4 to be exact. He's a former world champion. Computer has him at number 4. WBO has him at number 3. Ironically enough, which shocks me, but maybe not, because the sanctioning body ratings are BS. But the WBC, the IBF, or the WBA don't even have him ranked. Now, you can accept that when he's a champion, but he's not a champion. Ring has him at number 4. ESPN has him at number 2. And the legitimate computer has him at number 2 as well. Now, his best wins in 2022, despite being down not once, not twice, but 3 times, and it was a good thing there was no 3 knockdown rule in effect. In the very first round, he came back to knock out Kevin Lerena in 3 rounds. He also stopped a top heavyweight right now, Filip Hrgovic, in 8 rounds in June of 24. And then, of course, destroying Anthony Joshua in September of 2024. It only took him 5 rounds. It's a tale of 2 Dubois, because even though his nickname is Triple D, it's a tale of 2 D's for Daniel Dubois. When Daniel Dubois fought, and both times against Alexander Usyk, he fought the wrong kind of a fight. He tried to do something he just doesn't know how to do. He can't outbox Usyk. When he lost to Joe Joyce is a slow fighter. Daniel Dubois kind of just let him hit him. He didn't move. When he fought Anthony Joshua, that's like, the story of the three bears. The first bear was, a little too good for him. The second bear, it was a little too slow. But the third bear was just right. And that bear was Anthony Joshua. And Danny Dubois fought Anthony Joshua the way he needs to fight, the way he's built, his power. The way he comes in, it's either kill or be killed when he fights like that, similar to a Mike Tyson. I'm not comparing him to Mike Tyson because I just wouldn't. I love Mike Tyson. Not that I don't like Danny Dubois, but he needs to fight that way. So it's really hard to pick this fight for me, because if I could know for sure that he would come in and fight like he fought Anthony Joshua, I say he stops Wardley. But if he comes in and tries to outbox Wardley, Wardley's going to catch up with him and stop him. It's a truly 50-50 fight. I know a lot of the so-called experts are saying that Wardley is so much better. Fighters sometimes mature and become really good really quickly. And Fabio Wardley's fight against Joseph Parker was proof that he can handle a good boxer. He's got movement, and Joseph Parker, I never really thought of him as a one-punch knockout guy, but he can knock people out. There's no question. Plus his ring savvy. It's a big win for Fabio Wardley, and Daniel Dubois. On the other hand, again, if he fights the way he fought Anthony Joshua, I really think he's a tough out. I just don't know if he's going to fight like that. It is his last chance. I'm leaning towards Wardley in this fight. I'm going to be rooting for Daniel Dubois, and if Daniel Dubois wins this fight, he's going to win by knockout. But my official prediction, because I'm trying to base it on my research, is Fabio Wardley beating Daniel Dubois. So that's that. Hey, listen, I want to thank everybody, especially Chevelle Hallback, for coming on today. I want to thank all you guys. I know there was a lot of comments in the chat room that I wanted to comment on. That I know one that I should have. Jesus asked me what my thoughts were. Hopefully, he's still listening. What my thoughts were with Suleiman calling Terrence Crawford a coward. I should have brought that up when I was talking about TC before. I think it's ridiculous. I think it's showing, and David Benavidez in a sense was doing the same thing by knocking Zuffa Boxing. These sanctioning bodies, in my opinion, are panicked because fans, true fans, are going to eventually, true boxing fans, the fans that want to watch the sport of boxing, not Mario Ronaldo yelling at you, not, WWE with boxing gloves, fight fans that want to watch competitive fights are going to end up watching Zuffa because Zuffa is going to give us competitive fights. And David Benavidez should know that if he wants to make the money, he should go to where the money is. And I just think that the sanctioning bodies are scared that the promoters aren't as wealthy as the people back in Zuffa, and that the money is going to go to that. And they are trying to pull out all the stops. Trying to make the fight with Canelo because they want Canelo to get another payday. They were even saying that they would give 80%, 20% of the money to Crawford. That's how much money they think that they could generate from a rematch. And I say more power to you. More power to you, Terrence. That's why I love you. Anyway, don't forget, mark it down. If you're not in the Florida area, St. Pete area, Tampa, St. Pete area, Friday, June 5th, Saturday the 6th, and Sunday the 7th to attend the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame in person, which I was talking to Ray Mercer today. I'm going to see if I can get him to come on down. I'll talk to the powers that be. But anyway, it's a great time. I'm going to be there. And as John reminded me, I'm going to mention that we are going to be doing this show live from the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame on Friday night, June 5th, during one of the segments of the Hall of Fame weekend. We'll start at 7 p.m. So we'll see you then. Make sure you tune in for that. Okay, man. I was agreeing with Sanchez here. And then he says Crawford can't sell a chicken wing dinner. Okay. Crawford's got okay. That's a silly statement. But anyway, hey, listen. There's no show next week. We will be returning Wednesday, May 20th. So mark that one down. So make sure you tune in May 20th. Same bat time, same bat channel. Until then, I'll leave you with this. Ciao, baby.